Testing, testing. All right. All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. I love that. I love that. I love that. Peace and blessings to everyone. Thank you for coming out for this celebration of one of my moms. I'm blessed that I had several moms in life, and this one was very special. Miss Barbara Williams. I want to welcome everyone here to Busboys and Poets for the celebration of the life of Miss Barbara Williams. Welcome to all of the family first. Thank you for letting us do this and for sharing her with us, to family, to friends, neighbors, co-workers, and also to our virtual community as well. When they asked me to be the MC here, I thought that we were having a nice little neighborly gathering, and I think it's a testament to Barbara and who she was about the turnout that we have here today. So one of the interesting pieces is everybody can see what we have here, but in addition to what we have here, what is our count now? 114. We have 114 other individuals who've dialed in that are participating virtually for this celebration here. So one of the things that I will go through in emceeing is inviting others up to speak, but I believe that as we go through this, there will be some times where the moments is just going to be the moments. And I think that Barbara would be appreciative of letting the moments happen as they go. So we'll try to be in decency and order as much as possible, but I don't think we want to let those moments go by. So we'll start off with prayer. Father God, we gather here today under your care and protection. Thank you for your loving kindness that has never failed us. We thank you for those with us today, and that you will guide our thoughts and our actions to bring you glory. Strengthen us and fill us with your peace. Father, we thank you for your precious gift of the life of Miss Barbara Williams. We celebrate her life today and are comforted knowing that she is with you in paradise. We are grateful for the love, laughter, and cherished moments we all shared. Barbara was a source of pleasure and enjoyment for our hearts and for our lives. As we celebrate her life today, we are blessed and comforted by your presence. Our hearts will sing your praise for the impact of Barbara on all who are here. Strengthen and encourage us through the difficult moments of grief, and our lips shall forever praise you. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. I will next, as you come up, for those who are coming up, please either use the ramp there or the stairs if you don't think that you might fall and get caught on video. So just be careful with that, but come on this side of the stage and we'll bring up Miss Kelly King.
Good afternoon, and what a great day. I was asked what I think what Barbara would say, and this poem came to me is, don't grieve for me. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I followed the plan God laid for me. I saw his face, I heard his call. I took his hand and left it all. I could not stay for another day. To love, to laugh, to work, to play, task left undone must stay that way. And if my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss, ah yes, these things I too will miss. My life's been full, I've savored much, good time, good friends, and loved ones touched. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't shorten yours with undue grief. Be not burdened with tears of sorrow, enjoy the sunshine of tomorrow. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Ms. King. Next, we'll have family reflections. Jeffrey, Ashley, Jeffrey II, Vicky, and Joyce. You want to do family reflections?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley. I am Barbara's granddaughter. This is my brother, Jeffrey. This is her grandson. So I struggle with this, right? Trying to figure out what can I say, at my grandmother's memorial, right? How can I put into words how extraordinary somebody is, right? So I didn't write anything down because I can't do that. My grandmother's impact on everyone here, I think, is very evident today and every day, right? Because my grandmother's spirit was so lively, fun, unapologetic, and I believe everybody felt that, right, during her time here. So one thing about my grandmother, she didn't like flowers. She did not like fresh cut flowers. She loved sunflowers, but she never wanted a bouquet of flowers for any occasion, right? And so what I did was made sure that we gave my grandmother her flowers every day of her life while she can hear it, feel it, right? So I want to read one of the messages of flowers that I gave her. So I said, I love everything about you, wholeheartedly. I hope you know how much of an impact you and Pop have made in my life and the life of your children. So many parts of who I am and who we all are, choices we make and the way we live our lives come from y'all. I can't thank you enough for just being who you are. Your resilience, spirituality, and mindset inspire me. You are the most beautiful soul inside and out. We are so grateful for you. I'm so glad that you're able to get out and live each day like it's your last. One thing about you, depression can't have you. Too much love and God's grace is here for you. Me, my brother, and Dad love you more than we can explain. We will see you soon. So I hope that my grandmother knew how much we all loved her, how much we still hear her and feel her, how close she is to us. Although she's not in the physical realm anymore, I've never felt more close to her than I do now. And I hope that the legacy of me, my brother, my father, shines the light that my grandmother gave to all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, I'm Jeffrey Williams II. Nice to meet you all. First, I'd like to say thank you for all you guys showing up today. This has been a tough moment for me and my family, but I just know that my grandmother wouldn't want us up here, crying, and she would much more want us partying and having fun. My grandmother don't take no BS. She not biting her tongue. She would be up here sipping her beer right now, listening to music and dancing. So we're not going to be all on here crying and dropping tears. We're going to celebrate my grandmother and have a good time. And we all going to smile, love one another, and hug on one another. And hopefully we'll see each other soon, not under these circumstances. And I just want to say I love all you guys. And once again, thank you guys for coming.
Hi,
This is our mom.
Barbara Williams. What a remarkable woman. I was married to her son, Jeffrey, and from that union, we have two wonderful children. Up until the day she closed her eyes, to me, she was my mother in love, and I still called her Ma. We talked at least 3 times a week. There is not a day that goes by that I don't think about the talks we had and all the things she taught me, and for that, I am grateful. She and Pop taught our children so much, and I know that they helped shape them into the people they are today. She was my friend to the end. There is so much I could say about her, but then I'll be talking forever. Anyone who had the privilege of knowing her knew her. She would do anything for you, and she would give you anything. I love this woman with all my heart. She would do anything for you. I'm sorry. I'm just glad I got a chance to give her flowers while she was here. I am confident in knowing that her legacy will continue with her son, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. Ma, I know in my heart when you entered into heaven, Pop and Lisa were there and holding you open arms. Take your rest now and know that I will see you again on the other side. I will love you forever.
Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing my mother with me. You know, I didn't plan. I actually hadn't planned on coming up saying anything, but you know, like Jeffrey did, I want to keep it short. Eat, drink, have fun, enjoy the memories and the thoughts of a beautiful woman, my mother. Thank you.
Thank you, family. One of the true blessings that that we have as a family is that we have always been blessed to have people with us with special gifts, and it's always appreciative to get to know individuals beyond just what they do, but to be able to know the gifts that God has bestowed upon them. So we will witness one of those gifts right now, and as we have Miss Stacy Atwater Jones come up and bless us in song.
Peace and blessings. Gotta say that, right? There is a passage of scripture in Matthew 5:4 that says, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted." The wonderful thing about that scripture is that God promises to comfort us. When you're grieving, grief goes in waves. 1 minute you're fine, and then a memory will hit you, and the grief will come upon you like a wave. And what I want to say to you, family, when you go through those waves of grief, don't allow that wave to pull you down. Don't allow that wave to consume you, but rest in the comfort of knowing that she is resting in the arms of Jesus. Amen. So I'm honored to stand and be able to offer my gift on behalf of someone that really meant the world to me. When Antoinette texted me to tell me that Miss Williams had passed, my heart sank. And I hadn't talked to her in years, but it's something about her presence, right? There was such a presence. Her office was like a safe space. We're about the bottom line in Adams, right? It's about the bottom line. But when you would go into her office, you would go in for one thing, and when you came out, you felt refreshed, you felt renewed, and you were ready to go just one more day. So I'm going to miss the presence of knowing that she is here on the earth. But to be absent from the body again is to be present with the Lord. Miss Williams, you are truly the wind beneath my wing. It must have been cold there in our shadows, to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let us shine. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name, but she had a name, right? A beautiful smile without the fame. Did you ever know that you're our hero? You're everything we would like to be, and we can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath our wings. Did we ever tell you you're our hero? You're everything we would like to be, and we could fly higher than eagles, 'cause you are the wind beneath our wings.
Ooh, ain't God good? Lord, Lord. I don't know where to go after that one. I was going to save this to a little bit later, but before I have the next round of reflections come up, I wanted to talk about peace and blessings real quick, because I think everyone knows Barbara's signature line, peace and blessings. And you know, as I was looking at items, you know, you look at definitions, you try to figure out things. And so I found something I thought was kind of interesting on the peace side of it. And I tried to figure out which one she was telling us when she said the peace part. So peace, one of them can be, you know, stress-free state of security, calmness, tranquility, contentment, untroubled. So that's one piece of it. And then the other part was refrain from or cease speaking, keep silent. So I guess it depends upon what situation you might have been in at a particular time and which piece that she was actually talking about at any given time. But the blessing piece, I think, was consistent. And the blessing is a prayer asking for God's favor and protection. And so she was always consistent in wanting us to be well with the Lord. So next I will have reflections, Adam's reflections with Susan and Sarana.
Afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to try and listen to Jeffrey and not lose my stuff. while I'm up here, but before I go, I'm glad I'm after Rodney and not Stacy, because I have zero talent in any other artistic ability. So here we go. I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about Barbara and her career. So we have a lot of family members, definitely virtually. Hi, everyone, and present, and neighbors and friends. And you heard about Barbara and her job, but I want to tell you a little bit more about her 40 years with the Job Corps program in Adams and Associates. Mrs. Williams was a true Job Corps champion and worked in the Job Corps program for over 40 years. She believed in the mission of the program and was committed to fulfilling its mission. She worked at the Woodstock Job Corps Center, where the first decade of her years at Woodstock involved several different operators and what we call center directors. In 1994, Adams was awarded the Woodstock Job Corps Center, and Barbara officially joined the Adams family, which we call ourselves. This is when Dawn, who's home and couldn't make it, Dawn and I first met Barbara as we relocated from Massachusetts to Maryland. And frankly, without Barbara by our side, we'd probably be back in Massachusetts by now. The majority of her center experience was in the position of admin assistant to the center director. For those of us that saw her in action, she was always in action. She was much more than an admin assistant. Her annual fashion shows with staff and students were the highlight of the year for the center. She was involved in Department of Labor regional and national events to include the Academic Olympics and female retention programs. These were all above and beyond the job of Miss Barbara Williams at Woodstock. She did her job. She did it as efficiently as anyone had ever done. However, this wasn't her passion. Her passion was the students that we were serving. She was a counselor and she was a coach. She would pull up the chair outside the CD's office, and most of you have seen this in action. She would sit in that chair, pull up her sleeves, sit that student down, look him or her in the eyes and say, "Get it together. Get it together now, otherwise this will be the last time I will see you. So get yourself together before you march in that office, and that person determines your future. Be that." And that was Barbara for all of us, just not for the students. Next, she took on the job in the corporate office, and she was our admin assistant in the corporate office. And then she became the events and travel coordinator. Now that is right up that girl's alley. Boy, did she do this with such passion and dedication. She wanted to ensure that all events were coordinated and planned with the customer in mind. But each event had to have a little of that diva flair, a little of that bee touch, what we called. She took care of every one of us, never left us stranded during our travels. She would be on that phone with us, getting us from point A to B, days, evenings, and weekends. It didn't matter. It was about taking care of people. And at that time, we were her family, and she was taking care of us while we traveled away from home. She was always just a call away, and boy, do I miss those calls. Now I'm going to talk about Barbara, my friend. The person she was. If you didn't have the pleasure, sorry. It's kind of late, but you can listen to the memories. That's not in here, I just made that up. I'm trying to help her get through hers because Jeffrey told us to keep it together. Barbara was kind. She was generous. She was loyal. She was funny. But she had a heart of gold. She loved this family. She spoke of you often. I know more than you do about yourselves. She had so much pride from the littlest one to the oldest one, all along the line. You see, for me, there are friends, there is family, and then there are friends that become family. We were so lucky that Barbara and Russell, our pops, thought of us as their family, as we did them. No words can truly capture the impact that Barbara had on our lives. She was compassionate with us. She was reliable with us. She was thoughtful. And most of all, she was authentic. She's going to tell you. She's going to tell you, but you're going to listen. You're going to listen. She was my lighthouse. I lost the lighthouse. To know her was to love her, and we loved her. Serrana and I, oh man. I am a rock, first of all. Serrana, Dawn, and I are so blessed to have made so many memories with her and Russell over the years, and I can't tell you what they were because she didn't want you to know. And some of them we probably don't remember. But we will always cherish these memories, and we are so, so grateful that we were a part of their lives as well as Lisa's. Thank you. For those that don't know, this is Serrana. She happens to be the offspring of the family. And I'm just going to let her get her thing over with.
Yeah, the damage is done. I'm crying, but I'm going to get through this. Thank you all for coming today, too, by the way. I really appreciate it. It was a big effort, and the turnout is unbelievable, as well as virtually, so thank you all. Okay. Well, you heard some background, but the day I first met Barbara was the day I got home from the hospital after my mom gave birth to me. She was literally there for me from day one, traveling all the way up to Massachusetts to see me. She actually knew my mom was pregnant before my mom did. The day my mom went into work to tell her, B guessed it before she even said anything. That right there showed me how connected we were going to be before I can even remember. She made me feel like her granddaughter, daughter, best friend, all in one. And though her love for me was unmatched, what she did that brought me the most joy and comfort in my life was the love she and Russell showed my parents. They would come over to my childhood home for what felt like every weekend. The laugh and banter that filled those nights are some of my favorite memories as a child. With all the positivity, there was a realness to B as well. She was honestly the only person in the world that could be straight up with my parents and get no pushback whatsoever. She was as straightforward as they come when necessary, and she did it out of love. I've never met someone who could be so harsh to you and make you want to say thank you at the same time. Her grace, influence, and demeanor created the most wonderful role model for me growing up. As we leave here today, I ask that we all try to be a bit more like B. Be welcoming to all new folks you meet. Be the one who sends the first text on your birthday. And always have a smart-ass response in your back pocket. Thank you.
Wow. You know, what I really find amazing is that I thought I was her special one. Isn't that crazy, though? That I bet you each and every one of you thought that you were her special one. She knows everything about my wife. She knows everything about my kids. I thought I was the person. What is it? I mean, how special is a person to make anybody that could come across feel that way? Isn't that something? So we do have another family reflection. So we're going to, like I said, we are moving. We will try to go with the script, but we will move it so we will have another family reflection before we move further in the agenda. So come on up.
Good afternoon. You're a good-looking group. My name is Justin Hamer, and I'm Barbara's nephew. Can't tell you how dear she was to me and the rest of my family, Jeffrey and Ashley, and I know Vicki was supposed to be here and little Jeff, but she just was so influential on our entire family. I guess first and foremost, I want to take the opportunity, if it hasn't been done already, to extend our sincerest gratitude to all who have been involved in putting together this reflection, this celebration of the life of Barbara Williams. We feel and appreciate the love and affection that you had for her. However, I also want to share with you the special place that each and every one of you held in her heart. I can tell you from personal experience how proudly she spoke of you, your mission, what you did, and how much she enjoyed working and interacting with each and every one of you. I mean, it goes to bear the fact that my understanding was she retired 2 or 3 times. It was like every 2 years, I'm retired, I'm not retired. And she was going back because it was so important for her to be around you all and how much she loved to do that. She was many things to many people. To her family, she was a mother, grandmother, aunt, a cousin, a beloved relative. To others, and many of you, she was a friend, co-worker, confidant, resource, mentor, just to name a few of the hats that she filled. But in all truthfulness, I got to tell you, you guys have answered a major question for me. In all these years, I never knew what she did. All I knew, it must have been important because she would call me periodically because she was always checking in on me. And every time she called, I would always miss the first call. So when I called her back, hey, Jess, hold on a minute. Baby, could you go over there and get that for me and bring it right back? Okay. Thank you, boo. And that was it. I'm back, Jess. But it was all the time. My understanding was, I thought she was in charge of the whole thing, but well, I'll tell you all, it wasn't just you. She ran each and every one of us in our family. And Jeffrey and Ashley are here to tell you that as well. But that was my aunt. She was beautiful, confident, well-spoken, comfortable with anyone in any setting, and as quiet as it kept, pretty smart. Little did folks know that this little country girl from Evergreen was tops in her class when she graduated, a valedictorian coming out of high school. Who knows, with a little bit more education, what the heck she would have done beyond this and the great things she did already. Suffice to say, my aunt was special to me. I believe in providence and that people and things are put into our lives to help us achieve a special purpose, the goals that are set before us. Some call them mentors, others a support system, angels. In my life, my aunt was one of those angels. I'm so thankful for the presence and the impact that she had in my life and that of my family. Always there for me, every milestone, every accomplishment, but also for every setback and even every calamity that was in my life. Always there to lift me up when needed, to help pick up the pieces, and to keep me, my family, and her family on track. She balanced her relationship with me between being an older surrogate sister and, when necessary, a backup parent. Growing up, she was the one who I could talk to and have those conversations with that I couldn't have with my parents. However, that doesn't mean she let me get away with anything stupid. And she also served as a phenomenal sounding board, but was quick to give me proper perspective. And I get the sense she did that same thing on the job every day. Now, y'all know Barbara had a sharp tongue. And while she could be very stern and quick to rebuke and it was not adverse to using a few select words, for lack of a better term, there were times when she would gently nudge me in the right direction. In those latter days, I actually got a kick out of it because she was still doing that, being the other mother rather than the surrogate sister. So as soon as I said something that was untoward or out of line, her response, and I've heard it use it with you, Jeffrey, no, no, baby. Caught a lot of that. But for all she did for me and what she meant to me and my family and what you all mean to me and my family, I'm thankful. In closing, let me share this with you. Another perspective on James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. My heart was tested towards the end of her life, having gone through so many previous tests, losing her mother at 14, her brother in 78, and her father a few years afterwards, devastating events, and not even to think about the last two. These final tests were especially difficult. I don't know if many could have persevered as she did. However, having spoken to her on multiple occasions on the subject and having witnessed her evolution over the years, I can say her final ordeals actually strengthened her. She persevered, and that was probably the most important and valuable lesson that she taught me. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll break it up a little bit and bring up another one of the sons of the family that will also share his viewpoints here, give a little bit of reflection, and of course share his marvelous voice with us. So we'll bring up Mr. Norman Turner.
Good afternoon. Oh, what a blessing today to see everybody. As I sat and I listened to the reflections from the family, and I think about the people in this room who Barbara directly affected. I'm the center director at the Kittrell Job Corps Center in North Carolina, and I moved around a few times, and I can't imagine that process without Barbara. There were many times that she gave me very positive words. When my baby boy was born, he was born with Down syndrome. And Barbara always called him Bo Diddley. Some of y'all might know who Bo Diddley was, played the guitar. She always called him Bo Diddley, and she always asked about him. How's he doing? What's going on? And I'm very grateful. And when I think about Barbara, there are two words that come to mind. Strength. There's some folks in this room that have shown incredible strength over the past few years. And grace. So I sat back and I was like, hey, you know, what's grace? Let's make sure I got a good, clear understanding of grace. God's grace is usually defined as undeserved favor. Undeserved. I need us all for a minute to think about some times that Barbara gave us undeserved favor when we didn't. But grace cannot be earned. It's something that has to be freely given. How many times did Barbara give us grace freely? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Peace and blessings.
So hopefully I don't miss someone in this. I think I've got all the names right. I'll tell you, when we got that message on that day when Barbara passed, it was, I think the world just stopped. You know, I remember it, and you know, it's a couple of times in your life where, you know, you remember those moments. And I remember, and I was sitting at my desk, and there was something going on. I was probably talking to one of my centers about something, getting on their nerves, and all of a sudden, nothing else in the world mattered once you got that message. And of course, everybody wants to know exactly, okay, fine, all right, what's the next step? What's going on? What happened? What's the next step? How do I make sure I get my, get my words across? How do I participate in what's next? And I will tell you that I think that this was done exactly right and in an order that makes sense for Barbara Williams. This is exactly what we saw. I want to thank a few people who took the time to put this together and got all of this together. Of course, Susan and Serrano, who you saw earlier with this. Another one of Barbara's strongest confidants, and sitting in front of me, operating the camera and getting all of this together, Miss Lori Sturdivant. We couldn't do it without the family, and so thank you, Ashley, for your support in getting this together on behalf of the family. And I think I see her, one of my confidants. I think she's, I don't know what, oh, there she is. I see you hiding over there. We can't go without our person, Miss Antoinette Holman, who threw all of this together as well. Okay. So thank you all so much for putting this together. So in putting this together, it's not for everybody who's just in the room. We have a lot of individuals who could not be here, who wanted to express some items virtually as well. So we'll do some virtual reflections, and so we do have some family virtual reflections, so Ashley will come up and provide a few of those. Ashley?
Hello again, everybody. And everybody, this is my husband. This is Sean. This is Sean. So a lot of the virtual family is our family. They're from North Carolina. They're from other places down south, but my family down south played such a huge part in my grandmother's being. She was always down there, traveling back and forth, debating if she wanted to move back. So to all of you in Whiteville, Aunt Dean, Uncle Clarence, Uncle Vito, everybody, thank you all for all the love that you all have given my grandmother and us since the many things that we have encountered over the past couple of years. So the first one I'm going to read is Legacy of Love in memory of our sunflower Barbara. A phenomenal aunt, an amazing and special sister-in-law. This is the legacy we have of you. You taught us love and the gift of giving. You demonstrated strength and endurance in your living. The remembrance of your steadfast resilience will never depart, because our love for you will always be embedded in our hearts. You supported and cared for us in one way or another. What a perfect and amazing sunflower of a mother. For all of us, you gave your very best. Now the time has come for you to rest. So go in peace, you've earned your sleep. Your love in our hearts will eternally keep. Forever our agape love. And that is from Willa D. Williams, her sister-in-love, Sharbara, Adriana, and Theodosia, or Treese, Williams. The next one I have is from the Toon family. They had a bunch of family reunions that we had to go to. You just better go to these family reunions. So I want to read theirs. The Toon family is deeply saddened at the loss of beloved cousin Barbara, and our hearts are heavy at the loss of someone who contributed much more than her name on the roll, but also gave of her time, talents, ideas, and finances. When the scholarship fund was operational, Barbara and her husband, Russell, were the largest contributors. They also gave a savings bond to the winner of our essay contest. Barbara initiated the fashion show and talent show for the youth to demonstrate their talents. Barbara and Russell started faithfully attending the reunion in 1995. Barbara came in with those boots on the ground. She helped anyone who needed or asked for help, always volunteering, sealed with her infectious smile. Before the reunion, she would also collect gifts for door prizes and gifts for the seniors, and even help with the mailings. Barbara loved the reunion, which was evident by the love she shared, centered around doing her best to help others fulfill their jobs and dreams. Family, let us remember and emulate the qualities and characteristics she shared with all of us. And this was submitted by Anita. The very last one that I have here says, Aunt Barbara was not just an aunt. She was my style icon and a source of joy in my life. The anticipation of her visits brought excitement, knowing that we would indulge in our cherished shrimp boil paired with Lay's chips. Her creativity extended to her nails, and I would often find myself captivated, thinking, when I grow up, I want my nails done just like Aunt Barbara. As the years passed and life evolved, my relationship with Aunt Barbara transformed into that of a mentor. She became a guiding force, offering wisdom, encouragement to help me become the best version of myself. Her belief in me as the complete package resonates deeply, especially during challenging times as a Black woman in our society. Aunt Barbara appreciated the simple joys, like my love for my dog Ace. She found joy in the videos I shared and always had a laugh ready. Following Lisa's passing, I made it to a point where I had to recognize her on Mother's Day and her birthday, mindful of the potential loneliness that can accompany living alone. Her absence leaves a void that is keenly felt. I will miss her infectious laughter, her vibrant spirit, but find solace in knowing that heaven has gained a new angel, and so have I. Aunt Barbara's legacy will live on in the memories we shared and the lessons she imparted. May she rest in peace. And this is from Deanna Williams. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I have one more virtual reflection to share, and I probably won't do it justice, but it is from is from Juanice. And for those who have been with us for a while, they know Juanice. It's Juanita and Denise. And so they have a special way of sharing reflections in different ways. So I'll try to do my best with that. But here's their reflection. It says, on our first visit to Columbia, we finally met the woman with the sexy voice who made our travel arrangements. Barbara Williams was a sight to behold. She was beautiful, dressed to the nines, hair done nicely, long eyelashes, manicured nails, and a smile that lit up the office. We knew right away we wanted Barbara to be our friend. On day 2, Barbara called us to her office. With keys in her hand, she took us to a particular locked closet. And with a whisper, she said, "See anything you like?" Barbara Williams was offering us clothing, backpacks, and other swag. Wow, this lady is powerful. She has a key to a closet with clothes. We definitely wanted her to be our friend. On day 3, Barbara took us into another closed area with stashed snacks. It was definite. Barbara Williams had to be our friend. She was in charge of the snacks. As we watched Barbara, we realized that she was Columbia's classy mother hen, making sure everyone in the office was okay, especially Susan, whom she loved like a daughter. And now she was taking the time to welcome us to the Adams and Associates family with arms wide open. We left Columbia with new Adams clothes, backpacks, pens, notepads, but most of all, we left knowing we had found a new friend. We will never forget her holiday parties at the office with buffets that rivaled those in the Nevada casinos. She was never more in her element than when she royally presided over Pokino. A good time was had by all. I still want that card. She had this special card she would not let anybody have. Every time she played, she would never let anybody play that card but her. Yes, Barbara Williams was our friend who, for 11 years, made sure that we traveled safely to our destinations. And after we retired, Barbara remained our friend with texts on holidays or just because we wanted to tell each other we loved and admired one another. We know there's a classy angel in heaven, and she probably has keys to a locked closet. That has special wings and snacks that she gives to welcome the newbies. That's our friend, Barbara Williams. All right, so at this time, we will open up the floor to people who want to speak. We'll ask for family members first, if there's any other family members that are here that did not get an opportunity to speak. So we'll give that opportunity first for any other family. If not, we will open it up. Ross? Oh, we do have one. We have one. We can make a line.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Hi, Uncle Jeffrey. I want to take this moment for reflection of gratitude for the life that my aunt lived, all that she gave, and all she left all of us to take with us. Aunt Barbara, everyone had lovely stories. She gave me my first glass of whiskey. She made me a whiskey drinker. She also made sure that while we moved to Baltimore and became city slickers, she made sure that we knew that we were country kids at heart. I'm so grateful for the trip that we had with her to the reunion this past September. It was our first experience ever going home for myself and my brother. And God is the greatest. God is the greatest. At the reunion, Aunt Barbara started calling me Lisa. And I didn't want it at first. because that was a big responsibility and a lot of stuff. But I know, especially after talking to Ashley, she knew a lot of things were going on. And she knew that it was God's time for her to come on home. And I'm just thankful that she made space for us to make sure we knew who we were and that we got home. And that was the most important thing. I'm grateful that she's home. She's with Uncle Russell. She's with Aunt Lisa. And I'm just grateful that all of you came here today and made this space, made this opportunity to honor my aunt possible. And I'm just so grateful for you, Aunt Barbara. The life that you live, all that you left us, we are forever indebted to you. And thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tammy Williams, and that was my godmother. Not only was she my godmother, she's my mother's cousin, Sadie Williams from Boardman, North Carolina. And I've been in the funeral industry for over 25 years. And when you're in the funeral industry, it's a ministry. You have to hold your composure at all times. You have to comfort the family. But when you get the call that it's a family member, it's totally different. And I found out that she had transitioned because that's exactly what she did. She transitioned from her earthly body to our heavenly home. My uncle had called me from Las Vegas, and he said, Tammy, do you know if they made the arrangements for Barbara? And I said, Barbara who? He said, your godmother. I said, no, I just talked to Aunt Barbara last week. And he said, Tammy, you didn't know? I said, no, I didn't know, Uncle Jim. And I hung up from him. I almost crashed my car because I was driving. And I pulled over, and I pulled up her phone number, and I called it first. No answer. Then I sent the text. I said, Aunt Barbara, please answer your phone. And then Ashley called me. And she informed me that it was true, that she did transition. And I asked her if she needed anything to let me know. But the worst part was when I got to the funeral home, I saw her Aunt Barbara's name on the boards, and I lost it. I had to get sent home that day because I didn't believe it till I actually saw it in writing. I saw her name on the boards. We grew up in Aunt Barbara's house. My sister and I, we would always go over Aunt Barbara's house. That's one house that my mom and dad would let us go over. You know, now the kids just go to anybody's house and you don't know who's the parents, you don't know what's going on. But back in the day, if your parents didn't know the person or been in their house for themselves, you were not going anywhere. But Aunt Barbara's house was one house we could go to, and I never forget, she has a stage in her basement just like this. And we would put on performances for her, me, my sister, and Lisa. And Jeffrey and his friends would be there, and they would critique us and tell Aunt Barbara would get up on the stage with us and dance with us and help us make up our dance moves. So we will always have a wonderful time at her house. The one thing that I do find comfort in is that she transitioned peacefully. She wasn't murdered. She didn't die tragically in a car accident. She transitioned peacefully. My mom right now, 2 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And when I called Aunt Barbara to let her know, you know, she told me, she said, Tammy, if you need anything, just let me know. And Aunt Barbara would call periodically, even up until last year. She would always call my mom. And not anybody else that would call that house, my mom would always remember Aunt Barbara's distinct voice. She was like, she said, Barbara called me today. And I was like, oh, you know who Aunt Barbara is? She said, yeah, I remember Barbara. We used to work together at Seton. I said, okay. So she never, ever, ever, even to this day, hasn't forgotten Aunt Barbara's voice. After Uncle Russell and Lisa transitioned, Aunt Barbara called me maybe about 2 weeks later. And she said, Tammy, I want you to promise me that you don't let them put me in no casket, because I don't want nobody walking by me looking down on me. And I was like, okay. She said, I want to be cremated, and if you do put me in a casket, you put me in there face down so everybody can walk by and kiss my I said, Aunt Barbara, I can't do that. May 22nd of last year, I had a kidney transplant. And I had called Aunt Barbara, and I told her, I said, Aunt Barbara, I'm in the hospital. I said, I had a kidney transplant. Every single solidarity day, she said, well, Tammy, you know I don't do hospitals. I said, Auntie, I already know. You're not coming up here. But she called me and texted me every single solitary day that I was in the hospital for about a week. And I got out early because I was doing well, went back to work, and she still was calling me, checking on me. But the one thing that I will always, always remember about Aunt Barbara is that in 2022, November of 2022, I was a victim of domestic violence. And I can share that with you because now I don't consider myself a victim. I consider myself victorious because I'm here. And when I called Aunt Barbara had called me maybe 2 days after it happened, and she could hear it in my voice that something was wrong. And she said, Tammy, she said, don't make me call Jeffrey and have him bring me over there. I know something's wrong, and I want you to tell me what happened. She said, I hear it in your voice. And I broke down, and I told her about the incident, where it happened, how it happened. And she told me, she said, I'm telling you now. She said, I would take this cane. She said, I might not be like I used to be, but I would take this cane. And the things she said that she would do down with that cane, I dare not repeat. And the one thing that I remember that and after that, she would call me, text me, send me scriptures, send me poems. But the one poem that I will always hold dear to my heart is A Strong Woman. A strong woman is one who feels deeply, strong, and loves fiercely. Her tears flow just as abundantly as her laughter. A strong woman is both soft and powerful. She is both practical and spiritual. A strong woman in her essence is a gift to all the world. Love you always. Call me if you need me. That's the text that she sent me. And she never forgot my birthday on June 7th. She never forgot to text me on Mother's Day. And I'm going to miss her so, so much. And I just wanted to let her know that I love her forever and ever, and I will wait until I see her again.
Hi, I'm Ross. I met Barbara 30 years ago. We were on a work group to plan Job Corps' 30th anniversary. And I loved her immediately. She was organized, playful, firm, and efficient. And then 10 years later, I had the pleasure to work with her for nearly 20 years. She retired 2 or 3 times during that time. She convinced me to be Santa Claus every year with a different getup, and so I should have brought my Santa suit, but I thought it'd be kind of weird. But she convinced me to be Santa. But she always had the same skills and that same Barbara. And the thing that I always remember, and we all had counseling in Barbara's office, but I loved telephone Barbara, right? There's the all business Barbara. Adams and Associates, how can I help you? And then she'd be counseling a student, or she'd be like just money, right? If you could see Barbara when she'd be negotiating with the hotel, oh my God, it was magical, right? Then there was the Job Corps student Barbara. Adams and Associates Job Corps student sneaking, you know, and she'd have her Job Corps student thing. Then I call it the sweet bee. Hey, Daddy, what's up? And my personal favorite was the Rastafarian Dardra. Rosnan, Rosnan, Rosnan. So she'd be singing to me whenever she danced, if she saw I was calling. On my last message from Dardra, on my birthday, I got all of these 4 Dardras in that minute and a half call. And I'm so glad that I had it on my phone, and I'll have it on my phone forever. And what I also loved at the end of the call, many of you got these calls, minute and a half, she'd go, hey, Daddy, it's Dardra calling. You know, just like you weren't sure it was Dardra, you know, that she made sure. So life is, you know, with Russell and Lisa and my mother, and what I try to do in life is tell people that I love them, and I try to let them know how I feel about them, and I will have no regrets, because every time I talked to Dardra, I told her I loved her, and she told me she loved me. Peace and blessings, Dardra. Love you, Dee.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Harold Hart, and I am Barbara's neighbor. Barbara and Russell lived across the street from me for more than 40 years. We were the closest of friends. There was not a Christmas that went by where Barbara would not exchange gifts with my wife, Barbara, who transitioned in August of this year. And so I stand before you this evening. I wasn't going to say anything at first, but I couldn't come here and not say something about a person who was so dear and close to me. There was not a week since my wife transitioned that Barbara and I did not talk. 2 and 3 times a week, Barbara was trying to comfort me. However, before Barbara transitioned, she called me on the night before. That was the longest. We were talking about something that was on TV that she was reminding me of to go and look at. But on the day before she transitioned, she called me, and that was the longest conversation we had. And the only thing that I can understand and see now, that transition did not sneak up on Barbara, because that was what our conversation was about. We talked about transitioning. So God didn't sneak up on Barbara. Barbara had her relationship with him. He communicated with her, and Barbara is in the arms of Christ. She was one of the most kindest persons that I've ever known. And like I said, for more than 40 years, we exchanged gifts at Christmas time. And before I go and take my seat, I'm looking over there at Jeffrey, and I can remember the time when Barbara called me, and all the years that I knew her, and Russell, and Lisa, and Jeffrey, she called me upset because Jeffrey and my son Derek had gone out there to school and gotten in trouble. And the principal had contacted her, and they had contacted me, and she said, look, we got to keep these boys separated. God, you need
Hello, everyone. My name is Lorraine Lane, and I had the blessing, the distinct pleasure to get to know and to work with Barbara Williams. Oxford defines home as a permanent place one lives, especially as a member of the family. Barbara Williams defied that definition. She was family, she was home for me. BW, as I like to call her, I borrowed that from Susan and Serrana, BW exemplified love in all that she did for you. I thought I was special too, Rodney. I thought I was the special one. I learned from Barbara how to make people feel special. Barbara had the unique gift of anticipating your needs, and before you could ask for something, she already had it for you. I was spoiled by BW. Barbara and I often joked about our Southern roots. I'm from Deep South, Georgia. She fondly called me country. Nobody else could call me that, and nobody else better call me that but Barbara. But that one word solidified our kindred spirit. I knew that Russell liked a particular expensive meal called chitlins. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm sorry. So during the holidays, I would call Barbara and ask her where she wanted me to send her chitlins. She would say, "Don't send that shit to my house." No pun intended. I loved BW, and I still love her spirit that will carry on for me as well for all of you. Look around this room. My God, this one person, this one angel, this one spirit have all of us stopping what we're doing, and without a second thought, we said, we have to be here. We had to be here. And you did it in a fashion that is so Barbara Williams. I am grateful that I had the influence and the care of a BW in my life. Thank you.
I'm going to say praise the Lord to everyone. The devil is a liar. You know, Claude and I came over from work. I had a flat tire on 95. I hit a pothole. That's what Claude said coming in. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, I got to use your car as an emergency." She said, "For what?" I said, "It's Miss Williams' memorial." She said, "Come and get the keys." And so we're here. But my testimony is in 1992, I met Miss Williams. Unfortunately, I had just broken up with my boyfriend, and I was on the job crying, and I was wearing wrinkled clothes. And I was like, my life is going to end. It was really ridiculous. And she said, "Come here, boo." And I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do." She said, "You're going to pick up this phone, and we're going to call him and tell him he ain't shit." I said, "But I love him." And she got a fly swatter. It was like 6:30 in the evening, and she said, "Pick up the damn phone." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "When he answers, you tell him he ain't shit and it's over." I said, "But I love him." And she said, "Shut up." And I dialed the phone, and he answered, and I was like, "I miss you." And she hit me in my head with the fly swatter, the dirty fly swatter. And I said, "Fuck it, you ain't shit. It's over." And I hung up the phone, and she said, "Don't you feel better?" I said, "But I love him." And so I now know how to break up with folk, right? But now I tell the men it's my money. You ain't getting it. It's over. But But my final story at Woodstock is that we had to sing at a local church. And she said, go find me 10 people and then make, I don't know if you guys know what the word Xerox means, Xerox this music. I said, cool. I go find, it was a bunch of, my sorors on Center, Greeks, everywhere. I was like, we're going to go sing a song at the church. I Xerox the papers, I make 40 copies, I put them in an envelope, we get to the church, give it to the pianist. He says, hey, do you have another copy? I was like, sure. He said, we can't see the right-hand side of the page. It's faded. I was like, oh, God. So I said, everybody knows these songs. So we start off with Hark the Herald Angels Sings. Nobody knows those words. Hark the herald angels sing. For 4 songs. And she's next to me. And we have our papers up like this because tears are flowing because I was like, oh, we're going to hell for real. She said, I'm going to beat your ass when we get out here. I said, can you cuss in church? And the people in the front row, the old lady, 83, dying laughing. And so after the 5th debacle, I stood out and said, let's give it up for the Woodstock Whispers. Of course, they never invited us back, but it was okay because we had a blast. And Matthew 5:4 says, blessed are those that mourn. It is okay to cry tears because they are given to us by God and they're free. It is okay to share a memory. And it is okay to remember how she lifted you up because she's given you the model to share with someone else. After all, we are part of her dash. She was born, she has transitioned, and to be absent is to be present. She is far better off than we will ever be. And so I would say to the friends and the family, first of all, if you're from Job Corps, raise your hand. We are each other's family. You don't know how many of these I've been to. It doesn't matter where I have to go in the world because I know people like Miss Williams gave their life to this program, to us. And I'm so delighted that she's given her family some time to spend with us. We want you to know that we loved her deeply. We want you to know that she loved the program deeply. And I want you to know that because of her, I am one hell of a woman who can end a relationship and remind people that they're not shit. Be blessed.
Hi, everybody. I'm Edna Primrose and part of the Adams family and Job Corps family. And I met Barbara when I went to Woodstock. So I had been in the national office in my little pristine palace of policy. And I started at Woodstock as Susan's deputy. So imagine that. It was amazing. And Barbara was just so helpful to acclimate me and learn the stock way. And, it was really the building of a pretty cool Adams family. I have a lot of memories of going out Fridays, kind of recapping the week, just all of the insane things that happened. And Susan was grooming me to be a center director, which I ended up being at Woodland, which was pretty fantastic. And Barbara was like, she was just a gem. So after I finished at Woodland, I went to the corporate office, and Ross Peterson and I were the head of the corporate proposal team, and Adams doubled in size during the time we did that. But one of the things I want to say about Barbara is, Roxanne told her love story, and I had a breakup divorce story when I started at Adams. And she was just really helpful for me as a single parent with 3 boys, just trying to figure it all out financially, and just had so much support. I felt like Barbara's office was like Switzerland. It was neutral territory. You could say whatever you had to say. You could do whatever you needed to do. And also, she gave 0 fucks if you were not in order. She told you. So I really appreciated that about Barbara. The other thing is when I think about Roy visiting, it was like
can we just get him into Barbara's office because he's going to be a lot nicer. But I love that woman, and yeah, she asked about my boys. My boys knew her, spent a lot of time with Susan, Don, and Sarana. So I just want to tell this story. So some of you may know that Susan's just a little competitive, just a little. And so Woodstock had this team, had a softball team. And, you know, I was her deputy, so she's like, no, you have to play. And I'm like, but I was a cheerleader. I don't know if I can do this. But anyway, I ended up going and to practice, just to practice, and it was like 20 degrees. We're in parkas, but she's like, we're going. Okay. So I ended up, I don't know, she probably threw the ball to me really hard and it hurt my hand, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I went to Barbara on Monday and said, you know, I'm really trying to be there for Susan. I'm really trying to support her, and I just think she's gonna kill me if I stay on this team. I don't know what to tell her because I don't think I can do it. And she's like, girl, she will kill you. You just have to tell her you can't do it. You have many skills and many talents, Edna, but this is not one of them. So that was my short-lived Woodstock softball team experience. But I just want to say that, you know, Norman, I appreciated what you said about Grace, because Barbara was just, she was larger than life. She was fabulous. She had so much grace. She was real. She was authentic, as Susan said. And you know, when you think about it, because of her, she created the best of who we are. And we took that everywhere we went. So I haven't been in the Addams family since 2012 when I became national director and then moved on to other things. But I always hold Addams in my heart, always consider myself part of the Addams family. And if you went on somewhere else after Addams, you know that you learn how to run a center from Addams, because the standard of excellence is incredible. And I think, as Susan mentioned, Barbara really held and continues to hold the heart of the Addams family. So thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Florence James, Barbara, and I called her Barb. And I was talking to Redford last night, and I said, Redford, I know that people are going to go up today and say something really special about Barbara, but I don't think I'm going to do it because I sent in a reflection. But as I was sitting at the table back there, I felt her spirit on me. Florence, do you? Go say what you need to say. And she pushed me like that all the time. I met Barbara at Woodstock as well, with the fashion shows and the dances and the mentoring. And then I went to the regional office, and then I met Barbara at the corporate office. We got back together. But when Barbara left and I left, we both said that we were going to talk every month. Every month. And I talked to Barbara 2 weeks before she transitioned. And not that I heard it in her voice, but something was different. And they say they know when they're going to go, when they're transitioning and those kind of things. And I happened to be in a craft store, and Lorraine Lane called me, and she said, Florence, Barbara's gone. And I was with my sister, and I just left the basket there and just went out to the car. Didn't cry because Barbara wasn't a crybaby. I can be a crybaby. Barbara wasn't a crybaby, but I just needed a moment to just reflect on Barbara. And the story about people being in her office, when you walk past Barbara's office and there was a person in there, you don't stop. You keep going because you know that she's talking to somebody about something very important, and you just leave it alone. And then when you go back, she said, oh, Florence, I had to talk to this one a minute. What do you need? That kind of thing. And she was always so genuine. I've known Barbara over 30 years. She's so genuine, and she spoke her truth. Maybe not your truth, but she spoke her truth. She's one of the kindest people that you would meet. but she always respected who you are, what you did, and where you were going. And one night I woke her up like 1 o'clock in the morning because my travel wasn't right and I didn't get there in time. When I got back to the office, I got checked big time. She was like, Florence, you called me 1 o'clock in the morning about travel? I said, well, Barb, you said call you. And she said, but not 1 o'clock in the morning. But she didn't care, and I was part of that secret closet as well. I was her second spy, because she would always like, Florence, when they go down there, you stand in the door. Don't let them take a whole lot of stuff. I was like, Barb, I don't want to challenge these people with taking stuff. She said, don't let them take a lot of stuff. Just a few things. And so I would go down, and yes, she was the snack girl. And she did love Serrana so much because she always talked about you, Serrana, all the time. And she just made me feel so special as a friend. She will always be my friend. I was always love her. And I'm going to tell this little one thing that some of you know about me. You know I like to gamble. You know I play the gambling game. But I play Barb and I would play the numbers together. And to this day, when 7:58 comes around, y'all play that tonight now, 7:58. When that comes around, do you know when I would win, Barbara would call me. And she would say, Florence, you got the number tonight. And sometimes when I go to check the numbers, that's the first person who pops into my head that she didn't call me. But she's so special, and I love her so much. Thank you.
Tissue. Hold on. I'm not a public speaker, but if Susan can get up and cry, I can too. My name is Laurie Sturdivant, and I've known Barbara Williams for half of my life. For those of you who've known her your entire lives, I envy you. I met Barbara through work, not the phone company. That was way before my time. I met her through Job Corps and Adams & Associates. I'm an IT person, a computer person. Barbara was not a computer person, and Barbara didn't do anything fast. So whenever she needed computer help, I had to slow down and settle in for a visit. Changing a password could take upwards of an hour. But looking back now, thank the Lord for that. Barbara lost her mother when she was very young. One of two things happen when that happens to you. Either you wear it like a coat, where you don't have the skills you'd learned from your mother and it's clear for all to see, or you take on that mothering role. You take it on with gusto, and Barbara did that. She mothered all of us. She looked out for all of us. She protected us. Barbara made you feel like you were her favorite. I've heard that from a few people this evening, that you were special, when in fact she was the one who was special because she touched so many of us in so many ways. There's a void now where she stood that no one would be able to fill. Barbara Williams was one of one. When God made her, he broke the mold. I'm so glad that I got to be on this planet, in this place, at the same time as her. She made everything special, a production, if you will. She put on student fashion shows, talent shows, and art shows. She participated in fun days and staff Christmas parties. The Christmas parties were almost always my favorite day of the year. My introduction to them with her was at Woodstock. She asked my dad if he would be Santa one year, which he did, and my mom made me an elf costume to go along with him, and I rocked those red tights because I would do anything to help Barbara spread her particular brand of magic. There are former Job Corps students spread across this country that I am sure remember her words of wisdom and the kindness that she showed them. She instilled pride and a work ethic in so many young people who needed someone to do that for them. She and I moved on from Woodstock to our corporate offices. She had brief episodes where she retired, which you've heard about, but I barely remember them because it didn't matter if she was in our office or at her home, our connection remained. During one of those respites, I did make the mistake of calling her house too early one morning when Russell was still working and he was sleeping. He let me know that calling the Williams household before a certain hour was a no-no. I never did that again. That was before cell phones were really big. I told Barbara, you better call me. I'm not calling your house ever again. We bonded over music and food and family. I was more Russell Speed with the blues, where she was more jazz. I'd often get texts, who sings this or who sings that? Who sings the woo-woo-woo song? You'd think she'd have got that with a son named Jeffrey. When we got the Mississippi Job Corps Center, she said, Mississippi GD, but she didn't say GD. And I replied, Nina Simone, which made her laugh, as she was always amazed if I got an old music reference. She liked her broccoli cheese soup from Panera Bread and her Chick-fil-A. I turned her on to cheesy potatoes from Mission Barbecue. Whenever we had corporate training in the office, she always made sure that food was provided that I liked. There she was, looking out for me. She loved her trips down south and to Atlantic City, to casinos, her family reunions, and her ladies' events. She'd bring me back pecans or peach rings or something from Cracker Barrel. She'd say, I'm on a fixed income. She'd actually say, I'm on a fixed damn income. But she'd always have something to give, and she would be shopping year-round, getting her gifts ready for holidays and birthdays. She didn't trust shopping on the internet. She shopped by catalog. The boxes would arrive in our office, and she'd have them piled under her desk with names written on the cardboard. She was generous to a fault. Her love for you would extend to your family. She'd send gifts and cards back and forth with my mom, and over the last few years gave her words of encouragement while my dad was going through his own health problems. Barbara was effortlessly the life of the party. She never met a microphone she didn't like. That extended to our intercom system at work, which we eventually got rid of, thank God. If someone sneezed 10 offices away, she'd come over the intercom, bless you. She had style and she had grace. When she strolled into a room, you know, the Barbara stroll, she owned it. She was fiercely loyal. She stayed working with us long after others would have retired. Russell drove her to work every day, which was nice because we got to see him all the time when we might otherwise have only seen him on special occasions. As I said before, Barbara never did anything fast. That included packing up for the evening. So as we'd trickle out of the office, we'd stop and talk to Russell while he waited, which we all enjoyed. It took a pandemic to make Barbara leave the office for good. When COVID was just getting started, we'd sent a group of corporate staff on an assessment to Texas, and when they got back, it was obvious one person in the office was sick. I told everyone, stay away from Barbara. I was not going to risk her getting sick. Barbara found out and got pretty mad at me for telling everyone to stay away from her. About a week later, we were sent home like everyone else across the country, and she forgave me because Lisa, her daughter, agreed with me. Again, it didn't matter if we weren't in the office, we would always be connected. In December of 2020, she and Russell met my mother and I in the parking lot at work for our Christmas gift exchange. Barbara was masked and shielded, and we socially distanced. It was so nice to see them. My mom had never met Russell in person, and when March came and he was in the hospital and it wasn't looking good, Mom was shocked because she said he looked so handsome and healthy when we had seen them just 3 months before. When Russell passed, my heart broke for Barbara. They had been together longer than I'd been alive. She took it hard, as was to be expected. We all tried our best to keep her spirits up, and I told her that COVID had turned out to be a blessing because she was able to spend that last year at home all the time with him. When Barbara told me Lisa was in the hospital 7 months later, I had a crisis of faith. I pleaded with God, please don't let this happen to Barbara, not again. It was just too much. No parent should have to endure losing a child, especially not in the same year as losing a spouse. I remember it vividly being a Friday evening and going to bed and praying desperately for a miracle. When I woke that Saturday to text messages and then Barbara called to tell me Lisa had passed, my heart wasn't broken, it was shattered. I prayed for God to give her strength. I went to Lisa's memorial. Sitting there listening to all the wonderful stories of her friendships and generosity, I realized that the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Barbara tried to put on a brave face, and the days and months that followed. I'd send her cookies and oranges and sunflowers around holidays, their birthdays, her wedding anniversary, and the anniversaries of their passings, trying to cheer her up. She'd tell me of her trips through the Wendy's drive-thru, where she'd sit in the parking lot eating chili and crackers, feeding those to the birds that she was sure were Russell and Lisa coming to visit her. She would send me pictures of the birds that she watched for and spoke to often. I spoke to Barbara the day before she passed. I was very worried about her that evening. I prayed for her as I did every evening, but especially so that night. She didn't sound so good at all, and I was glad that she was at her granddaughter Ashley's. I called her the next day to tell her that the oranges that I had sent had arrived at her house and she could let her neighbor know to go get them. Ashley answered Barbara's phone, and I didn't get it at first. Maybe Barbara was busy, I thought. When Ashley told me that Barbara had passed, my heart was shattered again, but this time it was shattered for me and for Jeffrey and for all of us. I cried a lot that evening and into the next morning. But when I woke, I heard Barbara's voice clear as day in my head. She said, "Don't cry for me, sweetie. I'm home."
Wow. So that is the open floor for reflections. If there's anyone else, one last time, if there's any other open floor items for reflections. I do have one additional one that I will read for another individual. As we were talking about the dash, and Roxanne talked about the dash a little bit earlier, says, between your sunrise and sunset, what does your dash say about you? It says, Barbara Williams' dash tells a story of camaraderie, loyalty, poise, laughter, love, direct and candid, witty, charismatic, stylish, classy, loyalty, and unwavering support. Her dash reflects the connections she nurtured, the bonds that have stood the test of time, and the family and friendships that were so very important to her and became an integral part of who she was. It speaks volumes about her character, her compassion, and her ability to bring all people together. In the tapestry of life, our friendship has woven a vibrant thread that added color, warmth, and a lot of laughter, selfies and videos, and a true meaning of we are more than just friends. Miss Barbara Williams, AKA my bow-legged diva, didn't know that one, okay. Your dash tells such a beautiful story of a dear, amazing daughter, wife, mother, gramps, sister, aunt, cousin, kinfolk, neighbor, colleague, and friend, whose presence will forever be felt and cherished, whose impact will last a lifetime, and whose love is a gift beyond measure. Rest well, my friend, always from the proper one, and that was submitted by Ms. Antoinette Holman. So as we get to the close of this celebration for Ms. Williams, there will be a slideshow that will be presented as we do have some food offerings that we will bless in a moment, and the slideshow will play as you can start to get food, and also for the individuals who are sharing with us virtually, I believe the link has been sent to you so you can enjoy the slideshow as well, as you will not be able to see that. And I will leave with one last, and it's one of my personal scriptures, and it's Romans 12, 1 and 2. And it goes as such. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And when I think about that, I think about, especially as you get into verse 2, when it talks about be not conformed to this world. And Barbara did not conform. She didn't conform, and yes, she strayed a little. She could be a little bit juicy with her language, but at the end of the day, she was a God-fearing woman, and I am so happy that I will get to see her again one day in glory. So that is the end of this, and we will have some nourishment. So we'll go ahead and bless the food. So, dear Heavenly Father, may this meal sustain our bodies and remind us of the many blessings in our lives. We are thankful for the love and family of friends who surround us and for the abundance we enjoy. Bless this food. Bless our time that we've had together. Bless the hands for those who prepared our food. May it strengthen us physically and spiritually. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.